Well, hello and welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
And I'm the co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is, man. Got an exciting show again today, but I think we need to let everybody know that we're grateful to have Lee and Fairman with us as a sponsor.
Absolutely. Real People, Real Voices, sponsored in part by attorney Nathaniel Lee. Lee and Fairman, great attorneys.
Yes, doing a lot of work in our community, and we're grateful to be a part of his connection as well as being as part of our connection.
Absolutely. And also joining us today is Dr. David Green.
Yes, has a great ministry on the west side of Indianapolis.
Purpose of Life.
Purpose of Life. Not only is he pastor there, he's also the president of the Concerned Clergy.
Historical
Yes.
clergy group.
And these new individuals who are taking office need to understand that these are historical groups that they're dealing with, and they're not going away.
Yeah.
They need to understand that. We're going to talk about something that he has proposed here recently, as well as you and others, and myself, 120-day nonviolent summer, early fall. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that today and see how we can shape that
We
out.
certainly need that.
Oh, yeah.
And certainly we want you to go to our YouTube channel, WHMB TV 40. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch this show when it's over, or you can watch shows that perhaps you've missed. Also, please go to our Facebook page, like us on Facebook. Real People, Real Voices. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
And I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
We want to get right into it with our guest, Dr. David Green. Thank you for being here today.
Good to be here with you.
Glad to have you. And certainly you're a busy individual with all the things that you're doing at Purpose of Life and the advocacy that you do along with the Concerned Clergy.
Well, I want to certainly be a part of this program as you guys are making a difference in the community, and it's all about making a difference in the community.
Thank you. And we're talking about the summer coming up, and we all know that when the summertime comes, folks like to get out and enjoy themselves. However, in Indianapolis, we have a crime index of 3 out of 100, 100 being the safest. So our city is not the safest that it can be, but you, along with collaborating partners, have designed a 120-day plan that could help make Indianapolis safe.
Well, certainly we want to have a safe city. It's good for commerce. It's good for all of us who want a safe city. So I'm excited about working with others, organizations like Pastor Moore, Baptist Ministers Alliance, Far East Side, what you're doing, because we've all got to work together. One thing that we have to be committed to is a collaborative effort. I don't believe any one group or one person can do it by themselves, but because it is a crime index level 3, we've got to learn how to work together. So I'm excited about working with other groups who are like-minded in terms of making a difference and providing and creating a safe place.
Yeah, and certainly there are certain highlights. So let's talk about some of the highlights. The details, of course, will come later, but some of the highlights of what a 120-day plan would look like. And the meeting that was at Olivet that included a lot of collaborating pastors spoke to solutions.
Yeah. One of the solutions was how do we come up with an answer for the gun violence, and how do we address it, and as we address it, how can we be effective with it? We do know that the summer months in our city are very, very homicidal. And so what we do in those instances is, in most cases, we react. In central Indianapolis, we just react. And so, along with Dr. Green and yourself and others who were at that particular meeting, we've asked law enforcement and people in the community to come up with some suggestions that will help us handle late spring, all summer, and early autumn, and make that assessment. And when we go into 18, we'll take the same, hopefully we can take the same philosophy that will help us reduce violence and crime for the summer months. I think that's a place to start. Maybe some might not agree with that, but that's a place to start because that's our most critical time of the year.
And we certainly want to empower current programs who do a lot of outreach in the community. So that's a great place to start. If we can have IMPD, we've asked our local police department to make sure they train and prepare these organizations that are already interacting with our young people that in the community, downtown area, and also look towards, what are we going to do with our young people? I would submit that a lot, because we canceled so many programs, parks programs, et cetera, that created jobs. We're now back to what are we going to do with these young people when we eliminated so many of the programs that used to exist 10, 15, 20 years ago for our young people. And so now we're having to either recreate or at least build up programs who are now engaging youth on a consistent basis because our young people are not going to sit at home. They're going to get out. So economics is a piece of this in terms of if people don't have jobs, summer job programs, all of those things would help with the crime index number. And we can't have people to have nothing else to do but hang out. That's going to lead to problems.
And I also want to commend you, Pastor Jackson, I guess, because we work together on the youth jobs program. And to be cognizant of the fact and to make the Central Indianapolis and Indiana conscious of the fact that the jobs program you see right now, Project Indy, really derived out of the Youth Jobs for Indianapolis's program. I think you're well aware of that. And has expanded, the mayor has expanded that program, and now it's called the Hawksett program.
Which was our plan.
Which was our plan.
We wanted the city
right.
to do it, but to your point, it was truly the first comprehensive youth jobs program.
Right, and those are the kind of things we have to keep motivating and keep moving and pushing along.
And we've got to expand. We've got to bring more resources to those programs so that more young people can be involved. And when they're involved, if you got a job, you got a job to go to. You don't hang out to 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning because you have a job to go to and things to do. And this is all part of a total solution. We can't expect the IMPD to fix it on their own. This involves the whole community and all the resources to bring to bear to resolve our issue and have a safer city.
Right.
And let me ask you all, and certainly both of you ought to be commended, President of the BMA, President of Concerned Clergy, both historical groups doing great work in the city of Indianapolis, so we certainly commend you. I've heard in several meetings the terminology vendor contracts. In my mind, when you start talking about sustainability for these programs that we have or we're connected to, grants are okay. But I've heard counselors who are no longer counselors. I've heard prominent attorneys say that vendor contracts is the key. But whenever you approach local governments about vendor contracts, they say, well, there's no money.
Right.
So there's, in my mind, there's something going on there where there's probably money there, but maybe our local governments are not willing to provide those kind of resources to the groups that have evidence that their programs are working.
Well, when we talk about vendor contracts under this administration, that will not exist as it once did under the Ballard administration. So we believe, and this administration believes, holistically in CICF, that if you want some money from the city of Indianapolis, you apply for a grant. That's how you receive your funds, and there's a certain amount of dollars that you can receive. A few years back, vendor contracts. If somebody wanted something and did not have a grant in place, they would work through the vendor contract situation. And it was who you knew, basically. You and I are very much aware of that. But it worked. It worked in some organizations, especially those who were not able to get high dollars for not having a grant. Did I say that right? I think I did.
Yeah, I think it was good.
Yeah, so it's just a different twist now. And sometimes you have to understand the grant program basically suggests that, the more money, the grant program says the more people you deny, the more we keep in the coffer. So that's what's happening. You have a grant program, you have all these organizations out here, and then you go into a new year with $2 or $3 million left in the coffer. Come on, give me a break.
Well, that's very important, very significant. Dr. Green, when we come back, we'll kind of drill down into some things that you would like to see over the next 120 days to help make our city a place that's safer. We want you to stay with us right here on Real People, Real Voices. We have much more to come with Dr. Green and Dr. Moore and myself. We have a lot of information to share with you. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Also like us on Facebook. And again, we want to thank our sponsors, sponsored in part this show by attorney Nathaniel Lee, Lee and Fairman. Check them out. They can help you. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. I'm James Jackson, your host.
I'm Pastor Wayne Moore, the co-host.
And we have a special edition on today with regard to public safety in the city of Indianapolis. And Dr. David Green has joined us. He is senior pastor, Purpose of Life, and also president of Concerned Clergy. Again, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
So the 120-day public safety or summer initiative, there's a great collaboration with Chief Roach.
Yeah, Chief Roach, first of all, I think he needs to be commended. He's doing some great things as it relates to trying to engage more of the police department in the community, not only engage the community, but also the business sector to try to bring about a comprehensive strategy that will work for 120 days, analyze it, take it to 2018, increase it as it relates to the days, and hopefully we can reduce crime and violence and gun violence among teenagers as it relates to this starting point.
And Dr. Green, I'm hearing that there's a committee formulating.
Yes, Chief Roach has done an excellent job of wanting to have a diversity of thought in terms of the people he's working with to achieve the objective of creating a safe environment. And he understands the importance of bringing along not just public safety people or not just the faith-based community, but also the business side, the economics of our community need to be a part of the discussion and a part of the plan, because we won't be able to address the issues without proper resources. We have a major problem, and problems get solved when you put resources to the problem. He understands that, so he's working to put together that team of people that will work together, and I commend him for being versatile enough to say, let's surround myself and not try to address this on my own and be a hero, but say, let's bring everybody together so that we have a safer and better city.
Yeah, different perspectives.
I think he needs to be commended. I mean, he's stepping out on a great limb as it relates to trying to create a safe environment for our communities, and he needs to be commended for that. And I'm hoping that the community will get behind our chief. And when he starts calling for these meetings to talk about situations in that specific community, that you'll show up, give him the input that he needs so that the community can become safer as he engages with community.
And as we move forward into that, Dr. Moore, what would you like to see with regard to collaborating relationships, the provision of resources, or just in general where public safety is concerned in Indianapolis? What would you like to see? I
would like to see a greater collaboration of community, a greater collaboration of business, and a greater collaboration of law enforcement. And I'd also like to see law enforcement look at enforcing law in a way that's going to be productive for all communities and all people who are involved. I would also like to see the faith-based community come alongside whatever area that needs to be. We need to work with this chief, help him get these numbers down so that we can have a much safer city and have a much safer summer.
And I would like to see him in there at least 3 to 5 years.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think stability is very important, because if we always get a different chief, then we get a different focus, and things don't get established and grab a foothold. when we really need to have some consistency at this moment if we're going to address the issues that confront our city. And you can't really have a relationship if you're always changing. You know, we need a police chief. We get to know him. He gets to know the community, and we're all working together. If, 6 months or a year from now we change, then we got to cultivate a brand new relationship with somebody who may have a different vision. So it's important that we work together, because we're not going to address the problem in a silo. It takes us all working together, doing our part, and the community has a big part of this.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping as we go forward that we will have all of the buy-in, all the participating partners, and that folks can find a way to work together.
Right. It seems like in Indianapolis, from my perspective, and it might not be the right perspective, we always have to see if there's going to be resources involved. And sometimes we miss the target because we're so concerned about the resources that are involved. I believe that there's a comprehensive strategy. If people are on board working together, the resources will be provided to do whatever needs to be done to make this a safer city and a safer place.
And Dr.
I think we're at a major crisis that we've got to get this right.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been battling in this battle for some years now. It's important that this season, it's crucial that we get this right, that we roll up our sleeves, make some, I'm sure some of the decisions will be difficult decisions, but we got to make the difficult decisions to save our community and to save our young people and create a safer city.
Yeah. It's sad. An 18-year-old young lady, eight weeks pregnant, lost her life. Young man with a bright future just the other day, 38th and Moeller Road, lost his life over a pair of tennis shoes. So we have a lot of things to be concerned about. And it's just not in the inner city. There's some other things going out, taking place in our townships, in our suburbs, and in other places in central Indianapolis and Indiana. And so we have to combat that. Just because it's not in your neighborhood today does not mean that it's not on its way.
Yeah. And I would hope, Dr. Green, Dr. Moore, IMPD and other public safety folks need information to solve cases. And a lot of times they can't get that information. So will there be some inclusion in that 120-day plan to see what can be done to get the community talking a little bit more? And it can be dangerous to do so.
Right.
Well, I think it's driven by relationships. There's a number of pieces in a process that we have to protect our citizens, that nothing happens to them, and police department, prosecutor's office, they own those pieces. So, but it gets back to, we have to trust each other, because we need a police department. We don't want to be a renegade city. And it's all driven by, can I trust you? But that trust is a two-way street. The police department can't just say, trust us, and without building the trust from the community. And the community needs a police department, so we have to connect with officers. And hopefully it's not the first time we're in some crisis, the first time we meet a police officer. We need to have positive conversations in our community, cultivate the relationships where the community member is comfortable to sharing with the police officer or detective, and the detective has the best interest of the community in mind, that they won't leave somebody exposed where something harm could happen. And we need all that working together.
Right.
It's our citizens complaint process. It's all of those items working together, cultivating a relationship. In the end, if we don't trust each other, we're not going anywhere.
Right, right. And I think in many cases that we're in a season, I believe, and I think it's going to be a long season, to where I believe God wants to get this right with us. And police cannot engage without community input. That day is literally over. They cannot engage without community input. And so if they try to do that, they'll be right where they are today, because they need the community to do what it needs to do to create a safe environment for everyone. And so you can't have a plan without the community involved in it. Now, people try to do that, but look where it has gotten us.
Right. We definitely need a change, and it's going to take time because we're cultivating a relationship. So I don't want anybody to think we're going to fix this in 30 days
Right.
or even 120 days. We just want to see process in the right direction because many of the things we're dealing with, years have gone by, the things have been neglected. So we have to cultivate and build this relationship, and relationships like a marriage take time.
A genuine relationship.
A genuine
Genuine
relationship.
Yeah, you know, we have been in some situations where we've been promised things,
Right.
and then those who promised them didn't come through.
No.
Exactly.
You know, the scripture says, swear to your own hurt.
Right.
So we want you to stay with us, and we promise that when we go to break, we're going to come back. So stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Real people, real voices, keep it
Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson,
And I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And I'm your executive producer, Faith McKinney.
and we're glad that you're here. Real People, Real Voices is sponsored in part by attorney Nathaniel Lee and Fairman attorneys. Check them out, they'll help you out. And also the Fervent Care Child Care and Christian School located at 10512 East 38th Street. So a 120-day plan
Yeah, we hope we can develop it, yeah.
to help keep Indianapolis safer.
Summer months, basically the summer months coming through, summer celebration, ending up with most festivals and things that exist downtown in the downtown area. Not only that, we want to filter that out to our neighborhoods where engagement and enforcement is working to reduce violence and gun violence and crime as well.
Yeah, and as we've seen on social media, young people are graduating from high school.
Right.
Some schools are about to let out come June.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the schools will be letting out. A lot of work to be done.
Absolutely. You know, the summer months and the violence has started kind of early, so we want to,
Yes.
that 120 days, it's a great goal.
Right.
You know,
We hope
It'll-
we can achieve it.
I'm sure you will be able to.
Yeah, I think everybody's trying to work together and make sure that, one child's life is more important than anything if you really look at it. And
Absolutely.
so we need to try to save as many young people as we can from the idea of being victims of violence and gun violence and homicide.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have a friend, Anita Royal, who helps the mothers of victims who have been murdered. And, you know, she's been really busy, unfortunately. But hopefully we can get her on the show and be part of that 120
Would
days.
love to have
Yeah.
her. Yeah, would
Yeah.
love to have her. We need to try to get her on the next show.
Yeah, absolutely. Faith, what would you like to see over the summer?
Wow, you mean as far as in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, I was thinking about that. And, you know, there's so many plans for community development. We spoke before, we spoke about getting the community buy-in to help us to rejuvenate our community. And one of the things that I've been doing is working with Pastor G on the with the Northeast Side development. So getting our communities on one accord and plans, and you know, get big plans, not necessarily the small ones, but you know, let's look into the future. And you know, that IKEA store, I'd like to tap into some of that too.
Yeah, it's a
You know, get some
major
of that
store.
traffic into
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah. And thank you all for joining us. We're just about out of time. Always a pleasure, Dr. Moore. Faith,
Yes.
having you all here.
Glad to be here.
And please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Also go to Facebook, like us on Facebook, and let us know what you think. We'll see you next time on Real People, Real Voices.